I hope you're ready for today. I hope you're ready for tonight because what is happening right now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is I don't even know where to start. Don't even know where to start. Where do you begin? How do you crack open tonight's extravaganza? What do I do? How do I explicate, expatiate? How do I limb? How do I provide an adumbration, a précis, a prolegomenon of that which you are to hear? How? I don't even know. I don't even know. But I will start off by saying this. This coming Saturday, oh Lord, it is going to be a celebration, a fete, a festival of mirth, the likes of which you cannot and will not be able to understand or grasp. We are simply, absolutely, positively going to be tearing it up at the cutting room. This is like nothing else because we were a bit trepidatious, as you will find tonight. It is going to be such a blowout, ladies and gentlemen. And as you find out, we might be able to find or to learn as of before, excuse me, before election day. Actually, either election day or before election day, that Donald Trump has won. We'll tell you why. So tickets are available right now. Go to the description section right here at this particular thing, this description section. The tickets are available. It's not unlimited seating, so get there before they say, that's enough. That's enough. So, my friends, we're going to begin. I'm also going to tell you and remind you, as I do normally, dear friends, which is so important and so critical, and everybody's grasping. By the way, I've got coming up at about 8 p.m., and those members of the Lionel Nation membership have already seen it. But it's a discussion with my great friend and a great gold and silver medals procurer, Colin Plume from Lionel. In fact, it is from LionelNationGold.com. Excuse me. So many of these. LionelNationGold.com. Where doomsday and catastrophe commercial preppers and investors, people are bulking up, saving on and putting money in gold, which is immediately liquidatable, and even hedge funders. Did you see what China? Anyway, we're talking about that. But in addition, as I've been telling you, my friends, you must go to preparewithlionel.com. I'm going to say this again. The wise, the smart, the sapient, the sagacious, those individuals who know what is happening are recognizing that emergency food, by its very description, is something which cannot be scrimped on or upon. Preparewithlionel.com. Right now, the 3-month emergency food kit plus 6 free bonuses. You got to see. The deals are, I'm telling you, through the roof. And they're not like other places that kind of sort of pretend to sell. I don't want to mention, and there are other places, you got your Costco's, and those are good. But My Patriot Supplies is nothing but this. This is all they do. They are the most respected, the most critical. So preparewithlionel.com. Go there now, my friends. Now, before we begin, we have a lot to talk about. I wanted to show you a couple of items from the museum. As you know, I've got my Trump 20. Oops, let me get rid of this. I've got my Trump 2020 mug, which I have here, which is a real collector's item. I've got that. I've got my original. This is my Make America Great. It's kind of like it's a very hard, like a ceramic. It's like a Christmas ornament. I've got this as well. This is part of it. Here's something you don't have. This is the President Trump Troll collectible Hair to the Chief. Do you see this? Hair to the Chief. Get it? Hair, not hail. Hair. Get it? This is the Troll. And here's something you don't have. This is almost sacrilegious, but I bought it nonetheless. This is the Trump. I guess it's a toilet bowl cleaner, though I would never ever use this. But this is another one of my items that I purchased at the White House gift shop. I bought everything there is. We've got Trump chocolate, Trump coffee, Trump everything. I've got the pen. I've got everything you can imagine, up to and including little books and little little tchotchkes that you can't get unless you are. I'll leave it at that. Somebody suggested, what about poor Rudy Giuliani? Rudy Giuliani, it breaks my heart to see what's going on. Freedom says, personally, enough about this skank time to win an election, Lionel. Trump or America's done. Personally, enough about this skank. Well, this skank, I think you referred to, happens to be standing in the way. And I have to discuss Kamala. Stephen Lynch says, Kamala's family tree is getting interesting. It certainly is. Hillbilly 55 says, Evening Nation. Thank you so much. George Keene says, thoughts on court decision against Rudy. It's travesty. He's going to turn over his Yankee ring, his car, his apartment to liquidate, to pay back these women who alleged to have been defamed by him. I don't know what to tell you. It's so incredibly sad. This man, especially after all he did as one of the greatest mayors of all time, and certainly New York. The big ones were, of course, Koch. Koch was up there. Rudy and LaGuardia. Absolutely. Now, the good news, ladies and gentlemen, Friday, President Trump is on with Joe Rogan. As we said, President Trump is going to be appearing Friday with Joe Rogan. Do you have any idea of what this means? Do you have any idea of how this is it? You know, and I know, and I've been saying, and I'm sure you have as well, with Dana White from UFC, with Elon Musk, and with that Patrick Ben-David, come on. Do you think there's any chance that Kamala would be appearing? Absolutely not. They can't even get this thing right with Maria Shriver. And as somebody brought up, is a great point, 2 women whose husbands knocked up the nannies. Think about that. 2 women. Not that it's their fault. I'm just saying. Kamala wasn't around when Slappy Emhoff did this, but nonetheless. Maria Shriver, brilliant Kennedy, who says, I'm sorry, I can't take that question. As you know, these questions are pre-arranged. Incredible. Rogan should ask him about UFOs. Kiner, you're a genius. And let me explain to you why. What do you think he's trying to do? What is, let me ask you a minute. Kiner brings up a good point. Now listen to me carefully. What is the president's goal on Rogan Friday? Tell me. What is it? Come on, geniuses. What is his goal? What is he going to do? Talk about the economy? Taxes? Ukraine? What does he want to do? What does he want to do? What do you want to do? Tell me. See, a weaponized makes up and says, UFOs won't matter if we lose the election. You're not listening. Thank you so much. Who is this? Shelby? You got it right, Missy. Humanize yourself. To laugh. Yes, chatter. Yes. get more votes. Well, of course, that's Theodore Huff has a good point there. Yes, 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 yes. To come across. Hang on, I saw this. To come across, I forget what. To appeal to get a large audience. Right. Uh, weed is a different story. I hope he says. Obviously, Trump has been very, very, very clear. He doesn't drink. His brother Fred was an alcoholic who died very young, very tragically. He's never had a sip of alcohol, he says, in his life. Doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. But it's to get him to show look at this. Charlie Waters got it right. To show he is authentic. Absolutely. You understand it? Lock in libertarians. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Space Force is about to get very interesting. Yes. Create enthusiasm and also to laugh and to show something completely different. Completely. Absolutely different. To show him the people who are listening to Joe Rogan don't want to hear about it. I don't know. Talk, inflation and all that. Talk about something interesting. Tell somebody something you don't know. Tell somebody a story about being on TV. Tell somebody about a mistake you made. Tell somebody about anything. Show something. Remember that what your goal is absolutely to make people love them. Pilgrim Media says, is she stoned all the time? Seriously, bruh. Literally. I think she might be benzoed. She might be doing some kind of diazepam, some kind of pharmaceuticals. But something that is so interesting, something that this is something I've always wanted to say. I've always wanted to say. And I wish he could have done this a while back, but nobody listened to me. He could have gone around the White House and show people how the cool parts about it. The kitchen. Having a staff, the White House staff. You've got a kitchen there, 24 hours. You've got the best chefs anytime you want. Anytime you want. Places that people would be surprised. How ugly the Lincoln bedroom is. How whatever it is. Show something where people would say, wow. One time, who was it? Bill Clinton supposedly said, I don't know how apocryphal this is, but he said something to the effect of when he said, here's the best part about being being the president. When he was like this and they start up Air Force One. He wants to humanize. You want people to leave, Mr. President, where people would say, I like that guy. I never knew that. I saw a side of him because it's already been said. We want to know about fracking and I know that. No. You can talk a little bit about things. And the most important thing about being a president is realizing the awesome, literally, bruh, awesome. It is enormous. The ability to have a nuclear arsenal, to be able, I am not going to allow American soldiers, airmen, Marines, sailors, men, women, black, white, to be killed, to give their life in a foreign country, ever. Kevin says, I want to know the minutia of his daily life. Yes, that's one of the things I really want to know. What is the best part? What is it like? What was it like to get shot? Did you suffer any PTSD? And what does he do? What does he say? He can say, I won't even dignify that question. There are men and women, men mostly, who have been involved in firefights. They lost limbs. They spilled blood on foreign lands. to this day. They're wearing prosthetics, or they can't hear, or they were blinded. And worse, their name is on a wall. And you want me to compare to that? No. It is an honor. An honor. If it were to happen. Listen to what I'm saying. It's the old Patrick Henry here. Is it Patrick Henry or Nathan Hale? I got him confused. It would be an honor to give my life for my country. There would be no higher honor. So I would be one of the luckiest people to be able to give my life in support of, first of all, the Democrats are going to go crazy. They're going to go crazy. Now, we'll talk about that. You understand this? We're going to be talking about that. But let's talk about this. Listen very, very, very carefully. All right? This is Mark Halpert. Mark Halpert is going to make you very happy if you haven't heard him. Let me try it again.
Buddy, let's lead with the lead, as they say in journalism. If the early vote numbers stay the way they are, and that's a big if, we'll almost certainly know before Election Day who's going to win the election. We're going to talk a lot about that. The reasons why Democrats might be underperforming, the prospect that they'll recover. But again, make no mistake, if these numbers hold up in the states where we can understand even partially what the data is like, we'll know that Donald Trump's going to be president on Election Day. So we're going to talk about that, but I didn't want to bury that because it's extraordinarily important. And we got to track that day to day. That's more important than the polls right now. It's more important than almost anything because it's giving us insight into a variety of factors that are accounting for a Republican overperformance by various metrics in the early voting in the battleground state.
Can you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? Do you understand that? Can you follow this? Can you grab? Of course you can. Of course you can. Could it be that they were that? Let me ask you. This is what Mrs. Allen and I are always debating. Could they really be that bad? Could she really be that bad? How many believe she's thrown it? I am of the opinion she does not want this. She thought, okay, I'm going to run. A lot of people ran in the old days. You know, who was it? Ted Cruz ran and Marco Rubio ran. And there's always some Jill Stein and that woman who is, what's her name? The one who's into spirituality, where Cornel West runs, the usual suspect. The old days, you had Gary Bauer, Alan Keyes. Remember that? People, they just run. And what they do is, remember, when you run, you have an official, how do I say this? You have an official pot, so to speak, a fund, a campaign fund where you can ask people to give you money. That's yours. That is yours. So long as you suspend your campaign and you always keep running, you keep the money. Keep the money for travel, for an office, for a secretary or something. It's yours for you to travel. Steve Garvey, one of the reasons why he never embraced, many people believe he never embraced Trump, was that they said he wanted merely to keep the money. He thought, I don't really want to be senator, but I'll run and I'll put my name out there, and you're getting free publicity, and your name, your Q rating, your popularity rating, all of these numbers go up, and people know you and your recognition. Who knows? Maybe you're on a board of directors, or maybe the bank, or maybe some who knows? I'd love to be on some, oh my God, some like the Raytheon. Oh yeah, Merchants of Death. But man, do you make money. Bank, Silicon Valley. Oh, think about this. And you build that name recognition by running for office. So people say, hey, that's that guy. I know that person. Nobody will ever want Kamala on the board now. She's a joke. So that's why people run. And I believe that's one of the reasons why she ran, because she didn't really want this. She never wanted this. They said, okay, you're going to run, but don't worry. You go, okay, I'll be vice president, but I really don't want to. No, don't worry about it. I mean, I'm real seriously. I don't want to be. I mean, vice president's easy. I'll go and I'll cast a few votes, and that's just good enough because I want to dance and I want to party, and I do not have any. Just like Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama doesn't want to run for anything. She's been there twice. She knows exactly what's going on. It's a horrible, horrible existence. Well, guess what happens? Kamala's running. And she was the only one who didn't care that she couldn't pull, what, 2%? Remember when she had the bus? Remember this? She couldn't, she was laughing about the bus and everything. Remember this? Remember? But she was doing great. Naked Buddy. Gold Buddy coming in, that cash. Oh, that's heady. And she'll run again, and she'll, the spokesperson, oh, people will come and see her, and the speaking fees and the books. Oh my God. Money like you cannot believe. Anyway, now she's the nominee. She says, whoa, hey, hold it. I don't want this. What do you mean you don't want it? I don't want this. I don't want to run. I'm not interested in this. That's not what what do you mean? I don't want to. I'm not prepared. That's why she's never learned anything. Nothing, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, she's absolutely. Did you see Trump in Miami? Cuban Americans
have survived, for the grace of God, things that we can never imagine. And he gets up and he says, fight, fight, fight. I happen to be honored today. Today by being surrounded by representatives of God on earth, and we have to pray. Yes. And I always will say, pray, 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 but fight, 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 because that's exactly what we need to do. Praying itself is not going to do it. We need to pray and fight. Now, talking about the economy, this is very simple. You made us energy independent. In just a flick of a finger. That's right. You can do it again. Now here's the problem. We have people running our country who are totally economic illiterate. These people have never had a job. These people have never run a business. These people have never signed the front of a check. Mr. Donald Trump has done all of that, and he runs the country like a business, because after all, it's a business. You cannot keep printing money that you don't have to help people who hate you instead of taking care of your own neighbors here in America. That's why he will make America great again. And when he makes America great again, he will make the whole world great again. Because we need to be strong enough to take care of our problems, and then we can go and help the people who need help. So thank you, Mr. President. Talking about the American dream. A young boy came to this country at age 13, didn't even know the language, and one day he's sitting in a panel, hugging the best man, the President of the United States of America. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
Let me tell you something, and listen to me. Listen to me. I know these. I believe Alvarez. I'll bet you he's Cuban, obviously, but you have never in your life met any people like Cuban Americans. 1959 was the brain drain. That's, well, actually before that, when they realized what was happening before Castro. It indelibly burned something into them. When I was a kid, growing up, so many of my friends growing up at school at Sacred Heart and St. Lawrence, and in Tampa, the Cuban community is just, since I was a kid, I remember cigar makers, and this is, I was raised with this. The smell of Cuban coffee, the food, they are so serious. When I worked with a U.S. senator, was in his office, the Cuban Americans loved him. And they would talk about things like liberty and freedom and things that we talk about, but to them, they're so serious about it. In one generation, just one, they went from many of these people, doctors and poets and intellectuals, they were cleaning, bathrooms and doing menial labor. They became the doctors and the lawyers in one generation with a work ethic you cannot believe. They are the most serious people. I swear to you, I heard about this. I heard about Castro. This guy came and took everything away. So when you talk about socialism and Marxism, they go berserk. Now, as the generations develop, the younger and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, they kind of lose their fear. They don't lose their allegiance. But there is nothing like Cuban Americans. Nothing. They are so hardcore. And when I was a kid, I just heard this. I heard how they talked about how they left. They just left everything. And people go back and they see their homes. Like one, I forget who it was. Somebody knew who went back for something. In fact, many people did not want to go back. They were at all, but they saw their home was a library, a public. Anyway, make a long story short, he is going to destroy them. Trump, they love him, and they show a connection and a love, and then they're so, believe me, I get almost choked up. I've known so many people. I've known prisoners of war and people who fought against them, people who were in Alpha 66, and the people who, many of them also, believe it or not, worked hand in hand with Intel, FBI, not necessarily the bad guys, but like nothing you've ever seen before. Now, wait till you see this schmuck, Obama, Barry. Barry decided, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be in charge of it. We're going to dump Joe. I don't like Joe. We're going to dump Joe in 2016. We're going to he's going to come along in 2020 and win, but we're going to dump him in 2024. This was Obama. And Joe Biden hates him, and Jill probably hates him more than anybody else. Listen to the diffuse, the disrupted, the disconnected speech and speaking of Obama. Tell me what he's saying.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just
really
so divided and so bitter. And I get why sometimes people just don't want to pay attention to it. And we all have friends like that. We have family members who just like, it's all a circus out there. I get that.
What? Do you know what he's saying? He is so lost. He can't believe it fell. Pilgrim says, I am in love with Cuban Americans to the core. Well, you know what? And I can understand why. Great people. But do you hear the confusion? Do you hear the confusion? Now listen to this one. This is, she still can't get it. She still can't get it. She was on some show. She cannot speak coherently. Either she's benzoed out. I don't think she's stupid. I think it's organic. I really think she has a learning disability. I think she cannot grasp the nuances, the subject matter that we have her. I really don't. I don't think she can do it. Listen to her try to answer this question, which she should have known 3 years ago.
But I don't know that I heard a clear answer from you on the issue of gender affirming care. It sounds like what you're saying is this should be something between trans Americans and their doctors. It feels like that's
trans Americans.
A long way from "we see you and we love you," which was your message to trans Americans in May. What do you want the LGBTQ plus community to know as they're looking for a full-throated backing from you for trans Americans?
I don't understand what the hell that means. So I kind of side with Kamala on this. But look at her right now. Now, this is the answer. This is the answer. She should have this thing. Oh, I can answer this in my sleep. What have you done? Very simple. You should remember what it is that you've done for trans Americans, right? This is what anybody would tell you. She should have had her no card. She studied it. She's had people training her, kind of like Berlitz or something. Name 3 things. Always go. Rule of 3. Uncle Lenny's rule of 3. 3's enough. 3 things you did. The prison, whatever it is, just answer it, okay? Remember, these are her accomplishments. Let's see her answer the question.
I believe that all people should be treated with dignity and respect.
Okay, here's we go. Okay, let me explain something to you. If I give you nothing, if I basically provide nothing for you, I can pat you on the head and treat you with respect as I give you nothing, as I do nothing for you. Being treated with dignity and respect sometimes can be confused with patronizing.
Period.
No clue. She has no farking clue as to what she's saying.
And should not be vilified for who they are.
We're beyond vilification. We're beyond that. They want to know. And if I were their lawyers, trans Americans want to know, yes, aside from people thinking ill of them, what specifically is your plan, is your platform, and your worldview?
And should not be bullied for who they are.
We're not talking about bullying. That's the 3rd grade. That's grade school. We're not talking about bullying. You're confusing this with some kid in the school. We're talking about specific program structuring. Give us the specifics of what the government is doing at the legislative level, at the administrative level, and even in terms of enforcement.
And that is a true statement for me my entire career.
That's it. Again, I'll pat you in the head. I want to treat you very nice. You're a nice person. You're a nice little tranny. You're a nice little tranny. A good tranny. Good. You ain't getting any money or whatever it is, but you've got my respect. And we're not going to bully you.
And that has not changed.
Is that beautiful? What the hell does that even mean? Dear God, what does it mean? It's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Ann Kelly 007 says, thanks so much for the laughs during this final stretch. You've been great at giving it to us straight. Haven't prayed since I was a kid, but I'm praying for Trump and a win on E-Day. You know, it's funny, and I'm with you on this one. I'm not much of a prayer, but I'm coming pretty close. I'm saying, if there is any way to align the powers of the universe, to align and coordinate the energies so that they can be directed in a vector of positivity, I hereby beseech, entreat, and inquire that you or they, whoever is involved in this thing, in this great gravitational matrix called the universe, please, don't let this go. I cannot live if she's president. I'm going to be like that Jessica Starr screaming no. Do you hear me? Nelson says, sorry, Uncle Lenny, my dog has a bigger IQ than this pinhead. Viva Cuba Libre. Cuba sí, Castro no. Indeed. Co-create with me says, Kamala as VP is to be certifying electoral college votes in early January. What are your thoughts on a plan B person? That is conflict of interest, right? It's a very interesting case. As I said before, I think she will be so happy to be done with this because she doesn't want this. She doesn't want it. She will be so thrilled to be done with this. Johnny Mazes Bass says, first Boar's Head, now McDonald's, food tampering. I'm glad you brought that up. All of a sudden, Sal Manella, great actor, by the way. Sal Manella? Come on. I will bet you, listen, put it this way. You know, what I do is I always say, I wouldn't be surprised if, but if you can't see that coming, come on. Come on. And it would be even better for Trump to come forward and say, really? Really? Come on. All of a sudden, the timing of this. Now, let's not forget this fella. This guy still is running the show, theoretically. And he wants to lock President Trump up. I'm not kidding. Did you hear this?
It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up. Politically lock him up.
What was that? Politically?
It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up.
Yeah, listen to this carefully.
Politically lock him up.
Politically lock him up. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know what the hell that means. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there is a show that Mrs. L and I are going to watch tonight. It's called the 1916 Project. Did you hear about this? And the thing that I don't understand is, how do black folks and people not understand the initial not the theoretical, but the initial thoughts from one Margaret Sanger in Planned Parenthood. She was a eugenicist. She wanted to eliminate negritude, Negroes, blacks, African Americans, whatever you want to call it. I've always loved negritude. I just think it's such a beautiful word. Negritude. You can read what she's had to say, but somehow they've just forgotten it. Do you think that all of a sudden the basis for this organization, which basically either it doesn't, I guess planning parenthood is to destroy parenthood, and I don't want to get into abortion per se, but I want you to listen to this carefully. This is from this 1916, and it's called the 1916 Project Movie. I think you can see it on X. It's yes, it's a very 1916. Yes, you can see it on X. Yes, there it is. You can see Margaret Sanger. We're going to be watching this on, let me see this. In fact, it is, you must see, it's called 1916 Project Film. I'll follow this. And also, it's a film by S. Gruber 91 of the 1916 Project. This says the White Rose Resistance. I don't know. They're probably going to say he's some kind of a, whatever. I don't give a damn. Who cares? Whatever you want. But watch this. And there's this one particular part here. There's this one particular part, which I find is so interesting. Because, they talk about white nationalists. And they talk about white racists, and they talk about people who want to systematically deprive black and African Americans of a host of rights and liberties and the like. Well, I think somebody who wants to eliminate their existence would be something that you would want to look into, don't you? Well, let's listen to this portion.
Eliminate the Negro population. Margaret Sanger, founder.
We start again.
To exterminate the Negro population. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood. Hillary Clinton did say, I admire Margaret Sanger. Enormously, not a little bit, enormously. That's right. No politician would get my vote nor my support if they would have said, I admire Margaret Sanger. The woman who said, our goal is the extermination of the Negro race. What kind of Negro would vote for a woman who would say such a thing. Got to be a dumb Negro to do that. Something wrong with you, Negro.
That B3.
The role of the black minister is supposed to be the role of any preacher.
This is fantastic. Please watch this. I've never understood this. I have never understood this. Ever. Crypto Domini says, it seems the trans Americans have hijacked the political alphabet instead of controlling free speech. I will say to you, Mr. Domini, that I do not believe there is a substantial, a significant, and I guess a faction of significant heft to warrant any kind of serious political consideration. What am I saying? I'm saying that I think, yes, there are, of course, transgender people, but of such a de minimis nature and a de minimis number to not warrant this absolutely sweeping, breathtaking legislation and the like. It's so funny. I was telling you, Mrs. L has been in the world of theater. She knows since she was a youngin'. She was involved in rock music and entertainment, and then Broadway and the like. And while she has known, and I, through her and through my own life, have known more gays and lesbians than you can imagine. I'm sure bisexuals, if they even have those anymore. I don't even know about the nomenclature. But we know one case, and I'm not going to mention it, but a very, very, very talented, but somebody who went through inordinate pain and recovery by virtue of the surgery. If tomorrow schizophrenia were somehow made popular, schizophrenia, schizoid, schizoaffective, psychoses, schizophrenia, hearing voices, having disorganized thought patterns, disorganized mentation, hearing voices, seeing things, talking to yourself, whatever, schizophrenia. If all of a sudden somebody said, I'm schizophrenia, tomorrow TikTok would be celebrating schizophrenia. Guaranteed. Yes, it's not them, it's the shadow government, sir. Absolutely. I heard some French fella was talking about the shadow government. All of a sudden, kids are saying, maybe you've seen this, I have anxiety. I can't do this because I'm feeling my anxiety. Why? Because social media and others celebrate and herald this thing called anxiety. You're not old enough to have anxiety. I'm slammed. I can't do this. This can be told. This can be indoctrinated. I have ADHD. I need my Adderall. Now it's Ozempic, but I need my Adderall. I need my Adderall. Why? Because I can't pay attention. Remember that everybody was doing A or Dolly or whatever. All this. So then somebody said, you are going to be you're going to enjoy the celebration of this weird alphabet soup, these variations and these weird permutations of, I guess, sexual bearing, where people went out of their mind. We. Remember that joke? Not in my car. It's all of a sudden. So anyway, let's see what we got here. God, there's so much great stuff. This is yes. This was so good. As you know, there was something called, the word is logoria. And logoria is what was called word salad. It's a word that was used too much, but logoria is actually a sign. It's a sign of it's a psychiatric condition. I love the word emotional incontinence. I love that. Like you can't control your bowels, or you're incontinent. Well, this is emotional incontinence. You say things, you do this elliptical kind of a circuitous, discursive, repetitious. There's a wonderful, I think online you can read it, of a classic logo read. Somebody says, I'm happy because I'm happy, and therefore I'm happy, and I feel the sort of elation because I'm happy, and that's why I'm happy. Because if you consider all the things I'm happy about, I'm indeed happy, and that's why I'm happy. And I want you to understand that I'm happy. And it's a kind of a circular thing, which is what she does. It's called logoria. Logolalia is another version of it. It's wonderful to hear this because it shows this destruction of the organization of the executive parts of the brain that take into account concepts, thoughts, adjectives, descriptions, metaphors, similes, all of that. Schizophrenics have the worst time explaining. Like, cat got your tongue? What? Thing, expressions, metaphors, imagery, schizophrenia. Clueless. Okay. This is an event that was so strange. Liz Cheney, nobody likes Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney doesn't like Liz Cheney. Dick Cheney doesn't like Liz Cheney. Nobody likes Liz Cheney. No, that's the other sister. No, I don't know. But there's another one. In fact, Dick Cheney was for gay marriage. Remember that? Dick Cheney, because it's the other sister who's sapphic, as it were. Okay? But Liz is just, she looks like a wet, she looks like she just dropped a deuce. And her depends. She looks like she's sitting there and she's just miserable, like she's just in soiled clothes or something. So here she is with Maria Shriver. My pretty. Anyway, so she's with Maria Shriver, who, by the way, Maria, and remember this, Kamala both have husbands who knocked up the nanny. Okay. So they're sitting, and they're somehow, by virtue of this confab, they're trying to bring in new voters. Let's watch this, shall we? And let's ask ourselves how anybody could ever be swayed by this. And look at these poor bastards in the back. Who got these people to sit there? What is this? This looks like an Amway convention where half of the crowd left. Listen to this logoria.
Let me, if I can just speak to what people are feeling.
Oh, no. Right now, somewhere in her bus or her troop, they're thinking, oh, no. Oh, dear God, no. Oh, no, she's talking about what she's feeling. Oh, my God, no. Oh, Jesus, God, no. Okay, listen to this.
We can.
Let me stop right there. This is so good. You see this? She's pulling it out of nowhere.
Let me, if I can just speak to what people are feeling.
Look at Liz.
We cannot despair.
Frozen. We cannot despair. Look at Liz.
We cannot despair.
Look at Liz. Look at that look like. What the hell is she saying? Maria Shriver looks like she's like frozen. Like, what? By the way, nice shoes, Maria.
You know, the nature of a democracy is such.
Last time I saw a pair like that, there was a brace going up the side.
Such that I think there's a duality. On the one hand, there's an incredible strength when our democracy is intact.
Que mierda, caca de torro, mierda.
An incredible strength in what it does to protect the freedoms and rights of its people.
Que cojones, come mierda.
Oh, there's great strength in that.
Arrebatado.
And it is very fragile.
Que paquete, tolete, jode.
It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
Come mierda.
And so that's the moment we're in.
Hijo de gran come mierda.
And I say do not despair, because in a democracy, as long as we can keep it in our democracy, the people, every individual has the power.
Me cago en el coño su madre.
To make a decision about what this will be, and so let's not feel powerless.
Y pa coño su madre.
Let's not let and I get it, overwhelming nature of this all. make us feel powerless, because then we have been defeated. And that's not our character as the American people.
Me cago en el coño su madre.
We are not one to be defeated. We rise to a moment.
Arrebatado.
And we stand on broad shoulders of people who have fought this fight before for our country. And in many ways, let us look at the challenge then that we are being presented and not be
What
overwhelmed
is she
by it.
saying?
The baton is now in our hands to fight for, not against, but for this country we love. That's what we have the power to do. So
Can you
let's
believe
own
this?
that. Dare I say, be joyful in what we will do in the process of owning that, which is knowing that we can and will build community and coalitions and remind people that we're all in this together. Let's not let the overwhelming nature of this strip us of our strength. That's how I feel about this.
Look at Maria's face. Like, what the hell was that? The clapping says it's over. What was that? Seriously, bruh. Literally, bruh. Pilgrim says, look at the faccia bruta on Liz's mug. Oh, I know that. Oh, absolutely. Isn't this incredible? Doesn't this make you say, dear God, have you ever said this in your life? Timothy Leary, Charles Manson made more sense. Oh yeah, Caca's right. Merde. They will listen to this. Somebody will do a dissertation on this. Somebody in the future, they will look back and they say, there was a woman who lived, who actually said this before an entire group of people. She said this. And she wasn't pulled off the stage by people in white coats. There wasn't a hook. She was allowed to say this. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't tell you. We are going to win. And we're going to tell the Democratic Party, you will have to sit out 4 years after this. You cannot ever put anyone up again for 4 years. We are suspending. You are on probation. You cannot do this. You cannot do this again. You are not going to put us through this again. The Democrats should be absolutely furious over this, to the point where they can't see straight. Do you know what this is? Do you know what we've been through? Do you have any idea? I don't think so. Maybe it's happened so long, maybe that you've just kind of lost track of it. This is an assault on common sense, an assault on decency. Seriously, I mean, there's no need for me to even explain this. Stephen says, "Es todo, dijo la vaca." It's over. Dijo la vaca. Not vaca. Is that that's interesting. Es todo. The duck lays down on the grass? I'm not sure though. Bajo? Just kidding. My friends, we must just stop. I'm always afraid like I'm going to break into her, because I found myself stopping in mid-sentence and saying, you know what? I don't understand this. I do not understand how we're going to lose, or we could lose. We can't. This is just simply, it's like, for example, it's like, defying nature. Let me just leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Please, please, please. Is Jewel up, honey? Is that up? You have got to see an interview Mrs. L did with this courageous young lady, and her name is Jewel. Hang on a minute. Jewel Baraka. And the book is called Coming of Age on a Porn Set. You will not believe what this young lady went through. You won't believe at the hands of her own family. Go to Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. And also the former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO, Mike Jeffries, arrested for sex trafficking. Oh, Mrs. L is all over that. But listen to this interview. You will not believe anybody could do this to your own children. And the bravery of this young lady. Lynn's Warriors. It's the most compelling stuff you will ever hear. If you are also up for it, on Lionel Legal, I take this case involving the CEO and tear it apart. This case stinks. They granted him bail. What does that tell you? There's something really weird about these cases, these sex trafficking cases, which are true. And for me to say that, it means a lot. But there's something about people who don't understand that if you put yourself in the position of trying to be a part of this disgusting, vile world, the dark underbelly of society, the flotsam and jetsam of society, and you want to be a part of the rap scene and the music scene, and you submit yourself to it, and then you find out that people abuse you, and you're an adult, and you don't leave. Anyway, that's at Lionel Legal. Go there and subscribe. I call it like it is. I'm not somebody who always takes a side. It's not that the victims don't deserve to have their side taken. Some people put themselves into positions that are frankly out of either stupidity or some kind of weird demented lunacy. But I'll leave it at that. My dear friends, Stephen Lynch, Nelson A., Crypto Domini, Pilgrim Media, God bless you, Johnny Maz, co-create with me too, Nelson A., and Kelly 007, thank you. Dear friend Kevin, thank you. Hillbilly 55, thank you. A member for 11 months, ladies and gentlemen. And Freedom, thank you. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Don't forget, the 26th at the Cutting Room. Tickets are available. Tickets are right there. Go to this section. Underneath, I should say. And also don't forget preparewithlionel.com. Please, while you're calm, while you're able, peruse the fare and look at what's available, because something is going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know why, but you're going to be so glad you acted. Okay, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dad.